viewers, ThoughtsOfAnOldSoldier, coming at you from Robinson County, North Carolina. It's not a cold day, but it's looking like it's going to be a wet day. This video is probably going to be brief. Anyway. I apologize about last night with no live video. Just been feeling run down and under the weather the last few days. Apologize for no video on Saturday. It's supposed to be the second in the series of the survival series, but again, feeling sick. You don't feel like doing much anything. Nature of the beast. Oh, I'll stand by for just a minute. I got to put something in the mailbox before I get out on the road to work. I think part of it, I went and had some blood work done a few weeks ago, and followed up with my regular doctor home Friday about it. My SED rate was elevated, which, if you don't know what that is, it's inflammation. It wasn't high, but it was elevated. I mean, it was at its max on the normal level. But also, I think they call it the EBVA. Anyway, they do a count of the antigens for the Epstein-Barr virus, and she told me those were really high, which means the virus is dead in my body, but my body continues to attack it. And when it flares up, and I think it is, thus hence, and it drains you, folks. It really saps the energy out of you. So we're trying to figure out what the next course of treatment's going to be, other than rest and lots of fluids. Anywho, in other news, see if New Hampshire's going to turn out to be the fiasco that Iowa was, or not. Just listening to the news, one town in New Hampshire, I guess they only had 5 registered voters, and 3 of them wrote in that dipstick Bloomberg. Come across a video that Michael Bloomberg put out the year before last about why high tax rates are good, because it limits the amount of money that low income or poor people get, so they have less money to hurt themselves with, is what he stated. And I thought to myself, that's a pretty arrogant statement, for a man that's got a plethora of wealth. It's a pretty insulting statement, because he's making the implication that people of a lower income status do not know how to maintain their households, things of that nature. I know of several rich people that can't maintain their households. So his statement in that video is just Michael Bloomberg's pathetic anyway. Yeah, that one kind of got my elk up. Another one I saw yesterday, I got home from work and still feeling poorly, but I went to work and there now. Come across an article from military.com. Apparently the head of the Defense Administration, DHA, I think they call it, released a 12-page memorandum recommending that 38 or 36, can't remember which, military treatment facilities be closed to military retirees and their dependents, to include the pharmacy in several of those locations. That one burned me up to no extent, and the reason being is when I was recruited to join the Army, I was told that for a service career, that I'd be guaranteed health care for the rest of my life for me and my dependents. Some would argue that TRICARE fills that. No, it attempts, but does not. The point I'm getting at is that I understand his reasoning for readiness. Wholeheartedly agree with readiness. But to come out and state that you're going to just close off services to retirees at 38 facilities nationwide, to me speaks of, pardon the language, folks, but piss poor management of the financial resources you have. Now, there have been many for years that have argued that military retirees are a burden to the military health care system on on-post facilities. I've heard this argument for a long time. And the base commander, the post commander, if you're Army, back in my day it was post commander, I think they call it the senior mission commander now, can actually make those determinations on a local level as to who does and does not receive treatment on a military facility if they're not active military. So I would guess to say it's been by tradition more than it's been by regulation that military retirees have been allowed to receive treatment at military treatment facilities and the use of the pharmacies. Now, I live near Fort Bragg. I apologize for my voice, folks. I've been going hoarse for the last couple of days. But I live near Fort Bragg. There are thousands upon thousands of military retirees that reside near and around Fort Bragg, many of whom depend on that pharmacy on Fort Bragg for their prescriptions. Now, TRICARE would argue that you need to use Express Scripts, but given the difficulties my wife's had with Express Scripts over the last few years, I don't hold a lot of faith in that. But this memorandum didn't outline funding. It didn't and of course they didn't really release the memorandum. The article just says the memorandum has been released. It didn't give the article didn't state which 38 facilities, but supposedly all that is enclosed in this memorandum that is yet to be read. There's other ways to cut costs to prevent this from happening. Trust me, I know I worked for the government for 8 years after I retired from the Army. My first or second year as a government credit card holder and contract writer, I spent close to $1 million in 2 years' time, and a lot of it on frivolous stuff because I had to spend that money at the end of the year. Well, trust me. Bought things that they were justified, but they weren't necessarily needed. So there's money that can be saved at the bean counters and the people that actually authorize the expenditures start doing their jobs a little bit better. The whole system too, this end of year mess needs to stop as well. I think they call it baseline budgeting. They add in 3% and 4% every year to account for inflation and other miscellaneous costs that go up. Either way it goes, folks, there's ways that they can save this to continue to allow service for the retirees, maybe at a reduced service, but still allow them to continue for routine things at a minimum. Because if they go through with this, they're going to disrupt the lives of thousands upon thousands upon thousands, maybe even millions of military retirees that use the military medical treatment facilities around where they live. That continuity of care is going to go out the window. Now, my experience with military care has not been as good as some others in that regard as far as continuity of care. When I retired, that was why I was rather happy to get away from Fort Bragg's military health care system. One day you'd go see this provider, and the next day you go see the other, and start all over again. But for others that go out there, they've had the same doctor for years, and that's fine. I just think that if they decide to go through this, if Fort Bragg's on that list, I don't think Fayetteville and the surrounding area, doctors and pharmacies are adequately prepared to receive the influx of patients they're about to receive. Case in example, when TRICARE switched their contract from CVS to Walgreens, the pharmacy at Walgreens, where we initially started going, couldn't keep up with the amount of prescriptions coming in. Why? Because CVS is in our area outnumber Walgreens. I think I can count on my hand on my side of town. There's only 2 Walgreens that I know of that I can go to. Whereas with CVS, I had a choice of about 10 different locations. And having to finally find a Walgreens where the quality of service was acceptable to mine and my wife's standard. The first we went to, the store was poorly managed. Pharmacy and the pharmacist technicians just didn't care. The one we go to now, it's in a smaller town, and they have a better customer service base. And again, I've been to some CVS's the same way, where they've been pleasant and receptive, and others that just kind of get your stuff and get out of our store. I'm not faulting the chains necessarily. It's just the locations and the quality of the employees. Bottom line, though, is it goes back. I'm getting on a tangent. Bottom line is this: to come out and issue a statement that you're going to close 38 military facilities to military retirees harkens a bigger problem at foot. Of course, the article that was written in military.com stated that retirees that are using military treatment facilities would have to go off base, off post, and find a provider under the TRICARE network. All that's great. But when you change the rules, when they decide, well, let's reopen the military retirees, and TRICARE issues a statement, well, if you're in this area, you're going to have to start going, if you tell me that I'm not going to use military health care facilities anymore, then don't come back 10 years from now and state that I have to go back on base treatment. And I'm afraid that's what's going to happen, is they're going to do this, and then things will change to where they can support retirees, and they'll just, TRICARE issue a mandatory BS statement that now if you live in this radius of a military facility and you're on TRICARE Prime, you'll have to go back on base. No, wait a minute, you told me I had to leave. And that's what happened to me and my wife a few years ago. We just chose to not use Fort Bragg's treatment facilities anymore just because of, TRICARE changed things on a whim, and it just expects their law and their word to be obeyed. Well, no. You told me to go off post when I retired, so I did. But at the same token, if I'm on vacation somewhere and there's a military treatment facility nearby, I want to be able to go in and receive treatment. I just think this decision by General Place hasn't been well thought out. And to just do that, and like I said, just the pharmacy benefit alone, for a lot of retirees, it's going to shake up their life. It's going to make a change. And it's not going to be for the better. Again, there's some of you out there I know that will argue that you were never promised free health care for a career in service. We'll just have to agree to disagree on that, because that was a recruiting incentive when I joined. It was a recruiting incentive we were told to use when I was a recruiter. Now you'd say it was nowhere in your contract or your literature. You're right. It's not. But in several states, verbal statement can still be held to the legal standard of a written contract. So, and yes, I know there was argument in Congress back in the 90s on this same issue, and it would come out that Congress stated that nowhere in there that military retirees were promised a lifetime of health care, but yet then they passed the TRICARE for Life Act. So that's another thing. If I'm a military retiree and have TRICARE and TRICARE for life, why should I have to have paid into Medicare all those years? Inquiring minds want to know, Congress. I'm going to cut this off, folks. Like I said, I'm going to go and ready to teach class here in a few minutes. I'm going to avoid all the charities and vendors. You know, all that routine. All the links for all that are down below. But hopefully I'll get another one out tomorrow. And until then, God bless. Take care. Soldier out.